they
The
never do that.
Chargers have
No
agreed
way.
to a deal with Najee Harris, 1 year, $9.5 million. You know what?
That's a good
That's
deal.
that's
Yeah,
a
I like.
very good deal.
Well, that's why I like that they're not overspending. That's like they're not just shelling it out to some random, second stringer on a
According to
good
Adam
team. Like,
Schefter, 1 year, $9.5 million.
I don't think
That's
that's
actually
bad.
not a bad deal.
I don't think that's bad, especially you get a healthier Gus Edwards probably maybe at worst. So we'll see. Hopefully, it's better. Like I said, what the Chargers are not one player away. That's why they can't just put a lot of money into one person or whatever. They need front seven help and they need offensive line help because anything else, it's not going to be pretty, dude.
Yeah,
Especially
it'll be
That's 2
interesting to
players in a
see.
row from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are the kind of guys you want on this team. You guys,
Yeah.
you want guys that are physical, that play that physical ball that Harbaugh likes, and I think that's part of it too. I think for Charger fans, you can go into this offseason thinking that, hey, we're gonna change the way that Harbaugh wants to do things. I think there's certain kind of players that he likes. They're gonna build this through the draft. They're gonna pick and choose what they want to do with free agents, and they got to fit a certain style of football that they want to run here. And so I think you kind of have to just sit and wait and see what they want to do. There's certain kind of players that they want, and as the offseason goes, you'll see that from this team. Just I see this a lot with a lot of the other teams. We know what to expect from Jim Harbaugh and Joe Hortiz now. It's the type of player that they want, and they're not going to overpay. The one thing I thought it's been kind of interesting to kind of see the rest of the league with that extra money that you have now with the cap and how they're going about spending. I thought with some of the teams, they're just re-signing a bunch of guys on their teams. And I think for the Chargers, they're just being a little coy and trying to make sure that they go out and get those type of players that fit. It'll be interesting to see how different their free agency is to their draft, and that was something that I'm interested to. I wanted to ask you guys, what do you guys see? Like, what are like priorities for the Chargers in free agency and then in the draft?
No, I mean, obviously offensive and defensive line. The thing is that I think Dan is kind of right that the LA Super Bowl is the Chargers to be had in a sense. Like
if
that's
they
the one
build
that
it
they should
right.
that's the one that they should be aiming for. I think right now, I think the Chargers are a little bit more of a mess than when he got the San Francisco 49ers gig. I thought the San Francisco 49ers gig had a lot of playmakers. I remember they wanted to trade Vernon Davis away.
Yeah.
And he kept Vernon Davis. Michael Crabtree was there. They went to go get they had defensive players. The Chargers really they have some, but these guys are definitely going to have to go out and do the work. Like Rashawn Slater was already here. Herbert was already here. Derwin James was already here. Khalil Mack was already here. Like some of these guys were already here, but they're having to do a bulk of the going out
heavy
and
lifting.
finding.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember last year everybody was like, well, who the hell is Puna Ford? Why are they getting him? Boom. Why are they trading for Tierra Tart? Boom. Elijah Molden? Boom. Like there's guys that boomed and they've brought back. And I just definitely think that people need to take it easy. They're building this team slowly but surely. I do not think the offensive line we saw last year is going to be the same offensive line this year. I think they're going to be better. I think they're going to be I think it's going to be different players in there. I think some of these guys are depth pieces. Then you go and look on the defense. They need a defensive line. They need a better defensive line. I'm just going to be straight up. I think when it comes to the pass rushing, they need to go get somebody opposite Khalil Mack. Tuli Pelotu is good, but he's not a starter yet, in my opinion. He was too inconsistent. Beginning of the season, he had 0 sacks. He goes on a hot streak where he had 8.5 sacks in like 8 games. Then he didn't have any to end the season. So you need consistency when it comes to pass rush. You can't just have Khalil Mack and be like, all right, you go get us all of our sacks. That's why Joey Bosa is no longer here. So I definitely think that what the Chargers need to do is establish they need to go get another pass rusher. They need to bring in some other pieces, but defensive line, offensive line are a priority. Once they fix that, then they can start going to other places. But you drafted 4 starters last year. Well, they needed to be starters, and Cam Hart, Tarheeb Still, Lad McConkey, Joe Walt. Now you're going to need to hit another home run in this draft, and I think that's where they're going to build. They're going to build throughout the draft. They're going to go get players, and then ultimately I think that's going to be their piece. But I thought maybe this was going to be a 3-year deal, and the fact that it's only a 1 year to see what Najee really has, I think that's smart by Harbaugh and by Joe Hortiz. Now, if they could bring back J.K. Dobbins and kind of make a duel with both of them, well, actually, no, you kind of need a speedy running back. I guess JK's kind of speed, but they just need another running back, obviously. But the offensive line and defensive line, they still need receivers and a tight end. I get that, but as of right now, they need to be better. They need to focus on both the pass rush defensive line and offensive line.
I'd say also they need another linebacker, someone to pair up with Deion Henley. That's what's kind of missing, on that defense, the pass rush, the D-line, and then the other linebacker. Because when Perryman was in there, they were pretty solid, especially in the run game. Obviously, when he went out, then bigger issues started unfolding and everything else because you didn't have that run stopper. So that's another position also they need to address and figure out. But I agree with you. I don't think they're going to, be in a rush out there trading, trying to spend, We talked about this how many times when Harbaugh got hired. The advantage he has right now is for 4 years forward because he recruited, he researched a lot of these players are going to be entering the draft while he was at Michigan, and this is the advantage he's going to know because he's going to know the ins and outs on these guys a little bit deeper than obviously the NFL scouts and everything else because he was in that system in college. So, I'm not worried. I'm not worried yet. I'll be worried if, the offensive line looks the same going into the year. But as of right now, I'm not worried.
Yeah, and I was just going to add in terms of the draft, I mean, the outside of the running backs, the positions that everybody says is going to be good for this draft is interior offensive line, which is what the Rams like. I know you said that you expect the Chargers to draft a defensive tackle in the first round. I expect them to take a guard in the first round just because there's a lot of good ones out there in this draft. Defensive tackle, there's at least 30 starters from what I've heard in this draft. And then linebacker is another one where, we heard Eric Williams talking about it. Their linebackers are also, it's a really good draft class. So I think you're just the thing you're gonna have with the Chargers is a lot of dirty, guys that get gritty type of players that fit the system, and they're not going to wow you. You're not going to see a receiver as Fernando just mentioned. I think you're going to see them draft a receiver or even sign one that kind of just fits the mold of what. Well,
they got a receiver this year in the second round that everybody was kind of questioning, had injury questions. And I think he only missed one game. I think he just missed the Chiefs game. Yeah. But other than that, he was there every single game. He played hard. He was their best receiver. He was their best receiver in the Houston. Period. 197 yards, and next closest to him had 10 yards. That's unheard of, and that's ridiculous to see something like that. But I really do think that this. I really do think that everybody just kind of needs to take a chill pill. The one thing I told Tyler Dragon hated that I texted him this. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they missed out on Adams and on DK, and they went to go trade for Trey Hendrickson and gave him the money that Bosa Bosa was.
That makes a lot of sense.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
25 million. You'd have the best pass rushing duo in the NFL with Trey Hendrickson and with Khalil Mack. There's Trey Hendrickson by himself last year at 17.5 sacks. You're gonna have but that's what I mean. I feel like if I think Harbaugh could convince Trey to be like, hey, I know you probably want 30 to 35 million. Why don't you take 25 and we have an opportunity to really do something? Because I'll be honest, I don't think Cincinnati's close to winning.
See, that was the other thing.
Their defense is gonna be. I think their defense is gonna. If they trade him, their defense is gonna be worse this year.
I forgot who else
do is outscore you.
Oh yeah,
and that doesn't work.
they have bigger problems than just T. Higgins walking.
Because you remember what the Broncos used to do that. Yeah. The Broncos of Peyton Manning, when they first got there, it was outscore the shit out of your opponent.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to win games. Then they started noticing, hey, it's not working in the playoffs.
Well, they ran into a wall against the damn. They got embarrassed against the Seahawks.
The Seahawks. Yeah. So it's go get a defense, go do that. Yeah. So I think these guys are doing it right. It's going to take time. I mean, right now, everybody in a year from now, a lot of these free agents are probably going to get traded. They're going to get cut. That's what usually happens. Look at all the cuts that we saw leading up to this. So I think these guys, like Eric said, are going to be smart. They're going to be calculated, and they're going to look around and be like, all right, let's do it this way. Let's do it that way. And I mean, Joe Hortiz I've asked Tony Jefferson, I've asked other people. I even asked Eric Weddle, and they all say that Joe Hortiz was a big part of the talent that Baltimore got. And the talent that Baltimore got was through the draft. They would go get a free agent here and there to plug into their team, but their organization is through the draft. It was through the draft even when it was Brian Billick as the head coach. That's an organization that's been through the draft for years and years, and I expect nothing less when it comes to the Chargers. And that's why I say people need to be patient and just wait to see what Harbaugh and Hortiz are going to do. They can't just jump the gun, but I mean, Charger fans are going to jump the gun.
Also.
I won't mention any names, but a reporter and I were kind of exchanging memes that fans were throwing out there, and we're getting all they're like, oh, bring back Tom Telesco, this, that, and we're exchanging them, and we're laughing because we're like, dude, just relax. Why do you jump the damn gun? Just wait and see what these guys have to offer. So I just think patience is but I mean, the thing is, when you have a team across the hallway who's very flashy, who goes and gets guys, and I don't mean flashy in a bad way. I just mean flashy in the sense of they're a high-powered offense. They can put up 40. They can do their head coach is different. All that, you can get impatient when you see that the Broncos are signing guys and the who else in the division? The
Raiders and the Chiefs.
You know what? The AFC West has been pretty quiet for the most part, but just in general, I just think everybody needs to be really patient and just wait to see what these guys do. They didn't pick up all these other guys until later in free agency. But I definitely think that another guard needs to be picked up now. There's Will Fry from the Colts. I think they're going to draft one. So, and then obviously a center would be nice, but Ryan Kelly already went to the.
That's who I thought they might go after was Ryan Kelly. So.
I think the Raiders guy makes a lot of sense. The old Raider Andre.
Andre James.
Yeah.
He went to UCLA down the street. But I mean, to your point there, I think too, and I always remind this to Gilbert whenever we're on House of Horns and people talk about, the Rams just won the Super Bowl a few years ago, but you're not competing with the Chargers, and the Chargers aren't competing with Raiders.
Speaking of Gilbert,
you're not competing with, with the Chargers, and you're not and the Rams aren't competing with the Chargers, and the Chargers aren't competing with the Rams. You're competing for LA here. I mean, you've seen what the Dodgers, you've seen what the Lakers are doing, and so that's part of the why people are kind of freaking out in a little bit is because they want to see those splash signings, and as you said, and part of what you like about the Ravens model too, Fernando and Dan, is that they don't just draft the best player available. They'll draft even if, let's say, well, look, we have a position that we're strong at. We're still going to draft the best player and we're going to build them through our culture. And they've always done that with the Ravens. And that's why that model works.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
It's sustainable too. Cause with free agents, they come and go, you know what I mean? But usually the draft guys are the ones that'll be there a little bit longer. So you hope if they're good.
Well, and a lot of people thought that the Rams were going to be down and out for years because of all the backtracking of contracts. But Les Snead and Sean McVay have drafted well. They don't even go to the damn draft or to the draft combine. They just stay their ass home. But they've drafted well. They've gotten players. And now if you look, they probably have one of the scariest front fours in the NFL. With Kobe Turner and Fisk and Puna Ford and I can't remember who the other guy
Jared
is.
Verse and
Jared Verse. There you go. Yeah, exactly. So they have a bunch of guys on there that if you draft well, I mean, stuff is going to happen for you. So the Chargers just kind of they're going to stay patient. They're going to do what they do. The good thing is though is that I mean, I have heard in the past that some people, some coaches kept an eye on social media and stuff. I can tell you that these
they don't even know what it is.
Head coach and these coaches could give a rat's ass.
They don't know what it is
about what's on social media. They don't care about that. All they care about is doing the best that they can and going out there and putting in the work. So there's nothing that Charger fans can be mad at when it comes to that. And like I said, it's only the first day of tampering. The thing is, you got the Christmas Eve yesterday, and everybody's like, well, where the hell are our Charger fans are like, where are our toys? Like, why yesterday there was Christmas Eve? Some of our friends got toys, and today's Christmas Day, and we haven't gotten our toys, so where are they? So just slowly but surely, just stick to the plan. And again, it's like Gilbert and I have been really preaching since he got hired. Like last year in the draft, remember everybody was freaking out. Why would you go get Joe Alt and not Malik Neighbors? Well, there's a reason why. They need to keep that guy upright, and they decided to go offensive line. So everybody just needs to take a deep breath and keep going with it.